Bury is you're here at the West Suffolk District Council meeting, and they don't have any control over highways. It's the county council that does that. So on that basis, if you were able to find time to come over to Ipswich on Thursday, the meeting starts at 2 o'clock. You'll need to register your question. I suggest tomorrow. Okay. Have you got a couple of your cards?
No, I haven't.
Right, well, I'll give you. I'll sort that out in a minute.
This is the chairman, so he's the man who's going to help you.
So, if you then phone Suffolk County Council, you'll be given the opportunity to ask your question at full council meeting, and the portfolio holder for highways, I suspect it will be Paul, would be the one that will answer your question. Will then be able to give you an answer that you're hoping for. In that, I can, unless I hadn't heard, as far as I know, Suffolk aren't following Norfolk in any way, shape or form. Now, that's not to say that there isn't conversation going on.
Ipswich have been implemented as a trial area as of next year, and
that may be that Ipswich Borough Council has decided to do it.
That may be.
What concerns me is this is also on the government's website, and it's about Sustainable Development Agenda 2030. So it is an agenda, and because that's an agenda, they're implementing it in towns like Thetford, Ipswich, and other places, Attleborough and Oxford and Canterbury. Eventually, that's going to spread, and everywhere will have that implemented, and that's what we're worried about as concerned residents. Whether that will come through the back door without our consent, for starters, because we have to consent to this. And being a man that freely travels to and from work, out of town as well, that will stop me from my job as a tradesman. And it's doing that to the Oxford residents at the moment. They're struggling to...
The thing with Oxford, there was a consultation, and 93% of the residents voted against it, and then they went ahead anyway.
Yes, they did,
So,
and that's our worry.
So I'll give you the information you need. I'm going to find.
But that's great. About them get it into the county.
Get into the county.
I mean, that doesn't just concern us as Bury residents. It concerns everyone, yourselves as well, because
I live in the secret village of Herringswell. It'll never happen.
Well, that's a nice little place around the way. You're just out of the way, but it's a worry. It really is, and you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to put all these amenities in one area, so it feels like you've got everything close by. But once you know that you're trapped and you're penned and you can't move freely, then where does that go? You've lost your freedom to move freely.
It's Hobson's choice, isn't it? It's either pay a fine, buy a permit, or stay where you are.
Open prison.
Basically,
and we can't afford to accept that.
And it's very much a top-down thing, right from the World Economic Forum through government and down to county level, and then.
Well, let's get that information I've got, hopefully.
Excellent,
and then you can, Robert Everett, and there's my county council badge.
Anyway, well done for coming along.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to look into it myself, because I didn't know anything about it.
No, thank you, and I appreciate you for allowing me to speak openly. I know you had...
It is bizarre, but there is a formula that you run a meeting at. Because if we then engage in debate around each of those items, because they've not actually passed into council law yet. This is just one of the stages it goes through. So you'll still have an opportunity to lobby me or whatever it may have been around some of those issues.
That, I mean, we can have this, so we've got the evidence to back it up, rather than just word of mouth. Anyone can speak freely, but if we've got the paperwork to prove that, and it's been signed off by Suffolk County Council that they're part of sustainable development. And Agenda 2030 is really frightening for the future of my children, because that really constricts their movement and their freedom. When my time on this earth is up, I don't want to leave here knowing full well my children don't have the freedom and a good future ahead of them, because if the councils and the government believe that they've got rulership over our children's lives, then we can't accept it. We can't.
Be concise with your question, though.
Absolutely,
So highlight the important bits of it first, and then if you want to sort of add a bit afterwards, you can do, because you'll be a finite time scale, and I think it's 2 minutes to ask your question. And then I will ring the bell, because it'll be me sitting in the chair, and then you'll sit down. And so the trick is that you ask the question, the portfolio holder will stand up and answer it, and if you can get that question in before you get there, gives him a chance to look into it, so he can then say, well, I can promise you, sir, that we're not doing anything of that stuff at the moment. We've not considered it, or we have, or whatever it may be. He'll answer that question. And then you have the opportunity, which you must think about now as a group, is you have a supplementary question. So you can then ask a main question, get the answer, then ask your supplementary question, and then he has to answer that as well.
Because
so if you run over, all you're doing then is shooting yourself in the foot because you can't answer your supplementary.
There's another thing that really concerns me. Over the lockdown we've had over the last 3 years, we've had a lot of things being implemented in town, which concerns me. City fibre, for instance, we've had our roads and our pathways cut and torn up with infrastructure that we've never consented to. 5G super fast broadband systems, and the fact that we've had LED street lights put up throughout the town for no reason whatsoever.
Well, there is. It's saving £1 million a year.
It might be, but
no, it not might be. It is.
But what I don't understand is,
show you
but what worries me is being in a lockdown when we were told to stay at home and in our homes, and they were allowing these implementations to be put in place. What concerned me is what gave the council a feeling that they could put this up whilst we were in our homes, locked up.
Well, there were people. We weren't completely shut.
No, I understand.
Hospitals were still operating at
I understand.
But they were doing that, one in the open and two with a 2 metre.
Because with these implementations, we as we know, the NHS is crumbling. We can all see that it's destroyed the NHS completely. And you were speaking about doctor surgeries and appointments. That's affecting people to get appointments on time, and they're now having to ring up, and it goes through a process, and obviously a lot of patients are suffering because they ain't getting the help that they need. And I just wondered why we were putting so much money into those implementations rather than what we really needed to put into the roads, for instance, and our hospitals and healthcare. And that's what worries me. And mental health as well, because in the last 3 years people have really suffered from mental health issues.
This is a conversation.
I understand.
We need to have a pint, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. It's a big subject.
Have a chitty chat around a pint or a gin and tonic, because I would defend some of the things that you've said.
I understand,
because as a council, you were given grant funding from government. So at county level, that used to be 900 million, we're now down to 600 million. So we've lost 300 million. A third of our income as grant funding is gone. So they're now looking of ways of trying to earn that money by doing various things within the community, and one of them was reduce the cost of lighting by changing all the street lights to LED, turning them off at 11:30 at night, and not turning them on until 6 o'clock in the morning, when the vast majority of people are on the roads. There are some that do, and I had a phone call from a lady on the Howard estate who was bemoaning the fact that when she goes to work very early in the morning, there are no street lights. So what the county said was, well, we'll leave all the street lights on in the main roads, but yes, the smaller roads would be turned off. And that's been going on now for 5 or 6 years. There are still people that I'm sure bemoan the fact that they can't see their way up their street to get to the main road where the lights are on.
Pitch black,
I suspect most of them are driving rather than walking, but there are some that do. So you have to take a view of what's best for all of us rather than just a few of us.
I think the only thing that I can say, being a Prize Estate resident also,
it's a fantastic estate.
It is, but the only thing that I was really concerned about was the water tower implementation of 5G antennas. Now, a lot of the residents weren't very happy with the fact that it got pushed through, even though we were concerned residents and we went against it. They were still pushed through, these 5G antennas. Now, I know EMF radiation is a thing, and there's a lot of people that are suffering from certain, you know what I mean, medical ailments from radiation permitting. And these towers, the tower's huge, on the Prize Estate, and it's a 360-degree angle, these antennas, and they're hitting everyone. And my sister lives quite locally, right close to the water tower, and their children are being there all the time. No, I'm not saying it's due to that, but I know EMF radiation is a big thing, and I signed against it. I didn't want them put on that tower because I live on that estate, and I'm looking at my young children, and there's many elderly people in the community are suffering as well, and they're not getting, as I say, the help from the NHS. A lot of them have lost their appointments over the 3 years, but with this radiation also it's causing them many more ailments and issues with the body.
There's no evidence of any risk assessments done, and it's been proven scientifically that 5G is dangerous. Obviously radiation, isn't it?
And it's implemented all up down
I'm
the country.
afraid
isn't
Yeah.
it?
not intelligent enough to have the background knowledge on
Absolutely,
radiation,
just concerns me
so
being-
I'm going to have to go away and ask that
understand.
sort of question.
But that's
just
where
being-
education is the key, isn't it?
It is, absolutely it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. we
Knowledge
just
is
got to-
power.
Yeah, it is.
Indeed,
Very much.
absolutely. And this is powerful, what you're doing.
But I appreciate you
That's
giving
what
the
we're here
time.
for.
Yeah.
I do. I appreciate that you're
No,
giving the time
we
for us
don't.
to voice our concerns. Because as my
Why
great
wouldn't
mate
I
said,
wanna
he
listen
said
to
we
what
could
your
have
concerns
dealt with this in a different way and arranged a date and a speech. But you allow me to speak, so I am grateful for that the opportunity you've given me, and it allows me to voice my concern, and you're listening, and that's a big thing for me.
Well, come Thursday, when at 2 o'clock, when I open the meeting, there'll be In Focus, when you'll be able to listen to Seys, which is the a medical group that goes out on the road. They're self-funding, dealing with road traffic accidents. Well, they're going to do a 10-minute slot, and then after that, then I'll ask for go through the procedures, but then I'll get to you guys and say, now ask the questions, and as long as you registered, which you will have done, then you can move forward to the microphone and make your
And
ask
as
your
of
question.
21st, we are allowed to obviously be present at the next meeting in West
Suffolk
Yeah,
Council.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the
absolutely.
one next Tuesday.
Every single meeting that we ever put.
Because if we can put these concerns forward and we can make it something that we can all register and learn from, as you say, there's a lot of things you've not heard of. You're saying yourself,
No,
and
no,
the other,
no,
and the other
absolutely.
friendly guy said himself he's not heard of these neighbourhood boroughs. Now, if we can have it into a conversation and show our concerns, at least we can all go away and look at it as a whole, because these guys here have already tackled their local council and they've put the feelers out now, and they know that the residents of Thetford are concerned and they're not happy with these
It's actually got so
implementations.
big that we're getting messages from Texas, Australia, New Zealand.
Wow.
We've gone large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go big or
And
go
it's,
home.
That's it. Yeah.
You know,
do.
bonds.
Yeah,
That's
great.
fine then.
Great. Well, thank you
Let
very much for your
me get the
time.
information first. Yeah, no.
Oh, no,
Brilliant.
thank
Latest
you.
good on you.
Thanks very much.
No, it's a
Thank you
pleasure.
very